was a little bit late because I had a huge pile of meat that I had to eat in honor of our vegan friends. And it's been one of those days, so I am drinking wine. Not normally a wine drinker. It was the only alcohol I could find in the house, and I had to meet up with all you beautiful people and fortify myself. So anyhow, hello Davidians without branches. Nice. All right, so oh, Nancy says, get to David's channel and watch Buffed Man and his great movies. The Long Road Home. It's a Long Road Back Home. It's a Long Road Back Home stars my friend Kevin Chandler, the guy who started the nonprofit. He has muscular dystrophy, and so we did an independent film filming him looking really pathetic. And you can find that on unauthorized.tv and somewhere in the far past of my YouTube videos. But all right, so I say it's been one of those days because I had a few things happen. It's just a lot of pressure renting. You know, when you have owned houses for a long time, and then you're always going, okay, kids, you got to be quiet, okay. And where we rent, there are people that rent around us. That people rent downstairs. There's apartments out back, and so it's always like, okay, shh. All right, you know, the kids get way into their Monopoly game, and all right, everybody's got to be quiet. Kids want to practice, you know, the keyboard or something, and it's like, well, it's 8:30. I guess you guys better stop. It's just that sort of stuff, and it's just frustrating. You know, it's frustrating not having a yard, being able to say, all right, kids, go out and play in the yard. So I worked on my new book all the morning, and I got another 2,500 words done on it. The Good Guide to Plant Propagation is now probably 9/10 of the way complete. Very close. But I worked on it, and I said, all right, as the afternoon got on, I said, I got this mango scion that I want to graft. It's a, what is that thing called? It's not, I think it's called Jinghuang. Let's see. I posted on it today. It took me a little while to nail down the variety, but not very long. I looked up large Taiwanese mango and I found it. Jinghuang. Somebody local said, the Taiwanese brought this mango to us and I got one long ago. Look at this beautiful tree. And it's this great, big, awesome looking mango. And he says it's got a thin pit in it. Yeah, it's Jinghuang. It's got this great, you know, it's a huge mango, 2.5 pounds. And it has a small pit inside and has no strings. So I saw these big, big fruit on the tree, and I said, that is a gorgeous mango. And I said, can I have a branch? And the guy said, yeah, no problem. So I took a piece, and I said, well, I got to go graft that at the land. But what I also wanted to do was cut up some of the bamboo that we had cut at the river and make a covered area to put my lumber in, because I've been accumulating lumber and scavenging lumber and pallets and all kinds of stuff for various projects over there. So we cut down an area where there were some diseased plantain trees. We cleared it out. I got it all nice and open, and then dragged and, you know, just kind of raked the area out. And I got all my tools offloaded. I got the miter saw out, and I hooked up the power to the box and all that stuff. And then I realized, where's my extension cord? There's no extension cord. I had left the extension cord in the back of the car. And one of the kids says, oh, I took it out. It's back at the house. Well, so one of the kids borrowed it to power a keyboard. So anyhow, it was just one of those things. Like, I'm all set up. I'm ready to go. I got the pile of bamboo. I had a couple of hours before it got dark. And now by the time I drive back to the house and get back, it's going to take like 40 minutes or more. This is just not working. It was just one of those days. One of those days. Southern Catfish King says, I got my first troll attack today. Southern Catfish King continues, I had a flawless 100% like rate, and then some troll decided to thumbs down all my videos today. Well, congratulations, you are now a YouTube success. I heard you haven't made it until you get the troll. Yeah, I drink to that. The most annoying people in the world are vegans and atheists. And I've been attacked by both of them quite regularly. So this is why I just don't, I'm not even going to bother being friendly anymore. I'm done being friendly. I have too many people to be friendly. I like you people. Boy, those other people, those are not my tribe. So anyhow, speaking of people, don't forget to nuke that like button. So it's been one of those days, but I did manage to get all of that stuff done. You know, I managed to get all that 2,500 words done this morning, so that was cool. And then you know, I got my desk clean. That was cool. So I got my desk clean, and I wrote a bunch on my book. But the whole like let's make a shelter out of bamboo and cover the lumber, that just did not work. So that's the way it works. Now quit with the stereotypes, Alan says. There are no stereotypes exist for a reason. They're to protect us. Yeah. So, all right, let me show you something. This is funny. I was sent Mars, who is on here regularly. Mars sent me some stuff to ID. So I want to show you guys these plants, and then I will show you my identifications that I sent back to him. These are some of the plants. Okay. You know, there we go. We know what that is. Here's another one. It's going to make this a little bigger. And here's another one. And so he said, are these useful? I found these growing on my property. Here's another one. Let's see. And here is another one. This is actually the same as a previous one. So these are all things growing on Mars's property. So he sent them to me, and I decided to use the internet and identify all of them. You know, that is the ones I didn't know right off the top of my head. Well, I pretty much knew all of them right off the top of my head. So here's the plant ID on the first one. Yep. And here's the plant ID on the second one. And third one. Right there. And the fourth one. And the fifth one. So nobody called the cops on Mars, but, you know, it's crazy, huh? I mean, it's amazing. So there's a lot of different varieties. I actually... All right, now you guys probably know what these things are. So here, this is the first one. This is a mulberry that he had in a pot. This is dog fennel, which is a real common weed in the South. My kids used to like break the pieces off when they would put these big seed spikes up late in the year, and they would break them off and they would chase each other with them, and they would whip each other and use them like swords. So these things were really a pain. I don't mind them when they're out in the field, but they went through my plant nursery and my gardens with them, chasing each other and whipping each other, and they had dry seeds all over the top, and I was like, oh no, kids, no. And they said, oh, we went over there, and we went over there, and we went over there. So the next year there was like dog fennel everywhere, all through the pots in the nursery area and everything. This one here is beautyberry. This is, the dog fennel is not edible. It supposedly repels insects and stuff, but I don't know. Nothing seems to repel mosquitoes. This is beautyberry. This has edible berries, and the leaves do repel mosquitoes, though not very well. This one here I couldn't nail down. I thought it I don't know. I can't nail this one down. Very pretty color leaves, though. I have seen this out in the wild before, but I haven't been able to get an ID on it. This one is dog fennel again. So, I know, my plant ID was funny. It's funny because, like, anytime I do a food forest tour video, somebody's like, and no matter what the plan is, you're like, I spied marijuana. There's marijuana. There's always that person, or more than one person, that's like, that's marijuana. That's marijuana. That's marijuana. Like, oh my gosh. So, yeah. All right. I thought it was funny. So, I got another cool email. George sent me this right here. Look at that. That is an avocado tree, and he wrote more about it. Let's see. He writes, let's see if I can make this fit here. Thought would share a picture of a potted avocado that was started from seed. It's about 7 years old. It has been inside all of its life as far as I know. It was in a house I rented a few years ago. The guy we rented the house from said his daughter grew it from a seed. When it got too big for their house, they moved it to the sun porch of the house we rented. When we first moved in, it was a sad-looking little stick with a few leaves on it. So I cut some of the top off of it, then just kept cutting it back until it started putting out other branches. I forgot to cover it one night when it got really cold on the sun porch and it dropped all of its leaves. Then it rode in the back of my truck for about 30 miles in October when we moved. So it's a fairly tough tree. Little history on it. I think that's a beautiful tree. You can actually grow avocados, as George has proved. You can grow avocados as an indoor plant. They just don't generally, bloom or set fruit indoors, but they are a very pretty plant. They're very easy to start from seed. They just can't take that, sub-zero weather there. It gets to freezing, you're in trouble. So I thought that was cool. And that's a really pretty looking tree. I mean, if you're going to have a house plant, why not have an avocado? Really cool. So let me see what we got here. What do we have here? Fennel will ruin your dill. I did not know that. That's cool. Top Secret Bear says, all right, I'm here. What did I miss? Oh, we just did a little plant ID, and I was complaining about stuff. John Kohler was talking about weed in one of his videos. Crazy. You missed dog fennel. All plants are marijuana. I know. Like I said, I used to be in favor of marijuana legalization. I tend to lean towards maximum liberty for everybody until I wrote a post on marijuana and all the potheads showed up and started giving me the most insane comments and insulting me. I was just doing a plant ID post, and it was like lots of all caps stoner stuff, and I decided I'm now in favor of the death penalty for marijuana. So, I'm a very moderate person. Kennel. All right, so today I was over at the land and I had a little bit of a disappointing time because I wanted to build. It's the next thing I'm going to do. Like, I'll probably do it tomorrow, but the next thing I wanted to do was use some of the Bambusa vulgaris. I think that's correct. The common bamboo that's growing down by the river. It's a great big, huge canes of bamboo, and I'm cutting it, and I want to use some of it just to build a temporary shelter that'll last a few years that I can put a tarp over and use it to cover all of the lumber. But that didn't work out because one of the kids had taken the extension cord out of the house, and by the time I would have gone back and gotten it, it would have been too late to do any framing or anything. So I'll probably go back and do that tomorrow. So I don't know if I'll have a live stream tomorrow or not, but probably in the evening. Maybe not. I might actually end up playing live in the evening tomorrow. They were looking for a bass player, so we'll see. But I'll try to do it for you guys. But I went over there. The shed is done, and I met with a guy who was a contractor in South Africa. And we ran into each other and we hit it off, and he really likes the carpentry and building furniture and using reclaimed materials and doing tiny homes and that kind of stuff. And so the two of us started throwing ideas back and forth, and he has agreed to just help me. And so the two of us are going to attack that. We'll probably start marking off the bases of where we want to put stuff tomorrow. So that's really exciting. I really want to get out of renting. I bought my first house when I was 22 years old, or 23 years old, and so being beholden to a landlord and not being able to do what I want with the land and stuff has just been driving me crazy. So I'm very much looking forward to being on there, even if it means primitive living for a while. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a multi-room, small cabin, real simple, some reclaimed wood and materials, some new wood, and put it on, basically cast some little concrete pillars and do a raised foundation sort of a thing. And then from there, we will move in there. I will build I'm going to build a two bay composting outhouse system. And I'm going to then do a kitchen area, and then eventually we're going to do a proper master bedroom standalone cabin with a loft for my wife and I. So we'll be right next to this multi-room kids cabin. So it'll be kind of like camping with a fire pit in the middle and all this cool stuff. But it's way, way, way cheaper than building a big proper house. And by building small and kind of modular and in bits like that, I can get over the land quickly, and then later if I want to, I can build a big proper house. But I probably won't, because the weather is so nice, we could just have outdoor living most of the time anyways. Just need places to sleep, keep the rain off of our heads. I need an office. There's some things we got to set up, but it's really exciting. And it was really exciting talking to a guy. I brought the Tiny Home Simple Shelter book. I brought Deke Dietrichson's book with me. He's the guy that does Relax Shacks. He's great, crazy creative guy, very creative, good artist, and he has a punk band. And I got another one on tiny homes that I brought to him. And so we went through a lot of this stuff and measured things out and did a lot of sketching. I think I'm pretty confident about what we're going to do now. So this is going to be a lot of fun and a lot of reclaimed material. I'm actually going to go to the beach and grab a whole ton of driftwood to use for posts and pillars and maybe pieces of stairs and all that kind of thing. So it'll be cool. And when I have another creative person that has much more building experience than me, I mean, I've built furniture and I've built some musical instruments, never built a house. This guy has built plenty of houses. So between the two, and he's also creative, and he's built some furniture. So between the two of us, I think I've got somebody that I can bounce ideas off of and make things work. So we're going to do that. It's going to be fun. Let's see what we got here. Jonathan Reza says, I loved your book, Compost Everything. The funny bear story had me rolling. I'm very glad. So for the bears that are here, yep. I wrote about bears already. I used to be into legalization until I realized that it helps spread liberalism. ABK says, legalize it all, then tax it so I do not have to pay so much. No, that doesn't work. That doesn't work because everything that gets taxed, all they're going to do is create new agencies and waste the money. They will never save you any money. It will all be consumed by bureaucracy. Every time we say, hey, let's do this and tax it, it'll just get taxed, and then they'll just find some new asinine, worthless thing to spend the money on. It's not going to help. It'll help nothing. Unfortunately. I mean, I like you, Amy, but I'm in favor of basically deregulating and legalizing a ton of stuff, but not taxing it, because all they're going to do is keep, sticking their fingers in everything and keeping it. So, Karen says, one of my bananas is starting to bloom as well. Bloom's still in the crown. My other two have had bananas developing for a couple of months, growing dwarf Cavendish. This new Jen says, so you're moving, well, hopefully in a few months, Lord willing. Yeah, there are property taxes, not that bad. Austin and Jean says, hey, thanks for the plant ID earlier today. Yeah, no problem. Alan says, I like the modular approach. Yeah, me too. I like to keep things simple. I just don't want to build a great big complicated thing. I don't want to invest a ton of money. I want to leave some money in the bank. I could spend all my money and then go into debt and borrow more money. I mean, a couple of people told me just borrow money and buy something really nice. I don't want to do that. I don't want to give the bankers any money. I don't like the bankers. The bankers live off of the profit of others. The bankers are leeches. So I don't want to give the leeches any of my blood. Ecocentric Homestead says, oh, where's it? Got to scan up. Hey, David, I opened that fish emulsion today. I won't be opening it in my sunroom again. Yeah, it smells amazing, doesn't it? Cats love it. Fish don't have, or the plants don't have noses, so the smell of the fish doesn't bother them. Triplet Bear says, do you have any particular things you like to make with figs? No, not really. I like them fresh, and I really like them dried. I mean, just dried figs are unbelievable. It's like God gave us wonderful, crunchy candy. Very nice. Brian says, build a house out of seaweed from the beach. It might make a pretty good thatching. Leaf says, I'm wanting to get Neptune's Harvest. For now, I recently got Fox Farm Kelp. Me, kelp you. Kelp me, kelp you. That's nice. Yeah, the Neptune's Harvest stuff has great reviews, but any kelp or seaweed fertilizer should do well. Mars says, what the hey? It ain't 7. I know, I started early. Behavin says, I make spiced fig jam. I also like to caramelize fig over a pork chop. Man, that sounds good. Yeah, Southern Catfish King says, let's tax acid. I'm starting to think that all the mainstream media is on acid. That might help. Amy K says, but they already waste money on fighting all that stuff, so not sure which one they would spend more on. I know, I would like them to stop fighting all that stuff, but also not tax it, for the most part. Except for death penalty for marijuana. That would be reasonable, I think. Hugh Brackett says, look at the mess they made with alcohol after Prohibition ended. Yeah, everything's a mess. Debt is slavery, absolutely. The Bible says the borrower is slave to the lender. It's very true. Brian says, you should build a living house out of gumbo limbo sticks. Now, that is a great idea. I thought about doing that for the kids with Gluricidia sepium. The trick would be, how would you roof the middle of it? You would have to have it. You'd have to have some sort of framework in between the living trees. Probably build a framework from dead material and have the trees at the corners. Takes a little while, though. Or plant a ficus tree and tie the aerial roots. Yeah, that would be cool. Archanima says, more taxes inevitably leads to more roads and more cars. No, I don't think they spend most of it on roads or cars. I think they spend most of it on waste and planes that crash into the ocean. Amy K says, I have seen some houses that were built in parts, and I think it looks really cool and eclectic. Yeah, I love it. Tumbleweed tiny homes. Some really cool stuff. Southern Catfish King says, how do I know when my fig trees are going to bloom? If you look at the joints over the leaves, you'll see the tiny little figs starting to form, like right out around the joints. So look at the joints where the leaves attach to the stem. You'll see it. Yes, death penalty for weed. That's just because of the pothead commenters on my articles. It's nothing personal. You have to hear the whole joke. If you come out of sequence, it doesn't work. It's not as funny. Brian says, somewhere in Asia, I think India, they have a bridge made of ficus roots, and I think it gets bigger as it grows. That's cool. Jerry says, I'm going to grow a new strain of marijuana, and I'm going to name it David's Good Weed. But then I'll die because of the death penalty. But it will be worth it. You're making me feel very conflicted about this. All right, so basically, tonight all I was going to do is talk about some of the progress on my book and talk about the progress on my land. So we covered a little bit of the progress on my land. Let me show you. You've seen, some of you guys have seen this before. This is my plan for the land with the food forest at the top, the housing in the middle where there's a bunch of rocks and rough area, and at the very bottom is the annual beds. And the annual beds are on the flattest ground that's there, because I grew up in Florida and flat ground just feels natural. It's the best. So the food forest is on the sloping ground, and I want to dig some swales through there in order to hold on to the water that is flowing down that slope. And then the house area has a little bit of slope to it. It's probably another 8 or 9 feet above the annual beds area in terms of slope. And so what I can do is actually capture water off of the structures and then send it down the hill to the annual beds. So hopefully we'll have plenty of water catchment to get them going. But we're going to go over and cut down. We've got to cut down some of the trees, the big bush trees, because I only have a half an acre, and those bush trees are something else. They're huge. So I've got to take some of them out to give us space, and I don't want them falling on the house later. So I'll take some of those out, and then we will replace them with more controllable trees. It's not like the wild jungle is going to run out of. It's like it's not going to run out of crazy, insane trees. It's some sort of an albizia that grows really tall. Jerry says, "Are you planning on any swales?" Yes. Yes, there's one drain that goes through the middle of the land right now, but it goes underneath the road and out, a little access road, and I would like to keep more water in the land if possible. I really like to hold on to as much as possible, because we get really, the difficulty is that we get really heavy rainy seasons where it's just, tons of rain, inches falling per day sometimes. And what the locals will do is they'll dig trenches that just send the water as fast as possible off of their farmland, because they don't want all of that. But then you get a really, really dry season. Sometimes it'll go a month without rain. And now that's rough. So, the trick is to hold on to the water when it's coming down, but not have the ground getting flooded and washed away. I understand why they dig, like they'll just dig direct drains that just wash out. They become, little flooded streams every time it rains, and all the water goes flying off the land. I would like to have swales that are holding the water and letting it soak into the ground. But when you have so much rain, the ground really becomes very, very saturated. And so I want it to saturate and slow down, but also have a little bit of overflow. So it's going to take a little bit of work and digging and planning. Also, the land was previously all dug into beds on the top of it. So there are all these ridges. There's like a ridge every 2 feet, up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. And that makes it really hard to figure out what the actual slope of the land is, because it's not just a straight slope where you can go and use your little bipod, the two-legged A-frame, and then go and trap and all that kind of stuff. So I've got to kind of figure that out, and we get the top kind of leveled out a little bit, and make try to make those swales that are going to hold the water and hold it for each tree on the way down. And I also want to make sure that they're not running through and around the houses that are lower. So I know, there's a big trench that's about 2/3 of the way down the property, where it's big enough that I think there's probably a ton of water that has washed down there, and there's a big pipe going underneath the road there. So there's definitely some difficulties with the rain and then the really pronounced dry season. But what I want is, when we hit the dry season and it is really kind of being dry for like 3 or 4 weeks, and then suddenly we might get a hard rain and it drops an inch or so. I want to keep all of that. I don't want it to just run off the surface and be gone and evaporate. So, quite a deal. No, not doing any hugelkultur yet. It's really a pain to dig. Really a pain to dig. I don't like to dig all that much. So, Karen sends a $4.99 super chat. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Good gardener. Confirmed. Mara says, sounds like you need some ponds. Yes. I like ponds. I would have to work out a location, but I would like it. Austin says, I was looking on Google Maps trying to spot your land. I figured it would be easy to see with all those bright lines around it. Yeah, you remember when the Star Wars nerds found out where they were holding, or where they were filming, because they found the Millennium Falcon, and it was like all fenced off and everything, so it couldn't be seen, but they spotted it from satellite. It cracks me up. It's crazy. Karen says, how is Rachel feeling? Not very well. She's actually passed out over on the other side of the room. She's the morning sickness stuff has hit her pretty hard, so it's kind of hard to get stuff done, and also keep, I got to keep the kids fed and all that sort of thing, and she's teaching them. And then last night, our youngest, the baby, has just decided he didn't want to sleep, so he got up at midnight and just would not go back to sleep until 2:30 in the morning. So I didn't know that. I slept through it all, but Rachel patiently took care of him until 2:30 in the morning. So that just beats her up. And so I'm kind of trying to go back and forth to land and get things done in between, trying to make enough income that we're, I'm not making income when I'm at the land. So that's kind of tough. Like, if I finish the next book, I know the book is going to sell. Things are going to be fine. I'll get my royalties. If I do some work for some freelancers and that sort of thing, that's great. But I have to get us over to the land, and I also have to make sure, Rachel is okay. She takes care of herself very well, but... Southern Catfish King says, what type of sables are native to your area? I don't know. I'm not very good at palm ID. I got some beetle palms I'm going to plant, and some oil palm, which is kind of cool. Raboth Farm, hey man, nice to see you here. You made it. Mar says, by the way, I want to thank David and Deanna. Thanks to them, I just got my first tree for my food forest. So that's this one. This one, right? That's the mulberry. She gave you a really nice tree. It's actually a marijuana. Be careful, don't let the police come and get you. No, she gets over the morning sickness usually in a month or two. Brian says beetle palms are a carcinogen. No, I don't think so. Seem healthy enough to me. They make you spit red, turn your teeth black. Okay. Next thing you tell me, toast is a carcinogen. Actually, toast is a carcinogen. I don't eat toast though, so if I chew betel nut, I'm basically even. Compost police. So you guys, unless you got any more questions, I think I'm going to wrap it up for tonight. I've just had one of those days. I'm still wearing the same shirt from yesterday. Still wearing my hat from being out on the land. It's just been. I got to get up tomorrow and get out to the land and start working before it gets hot. And there's some things I want to do tonight. So thank you all for tuning in. I should probably find something to sing. Compost police. All right, you got it. I'll find it. Compost police. Sorry about the wrong. Got the wrong preview on this one. I've still got yesterday's thumbnail. I made a new one to replace it, and somehow it didn't get posted. So either I didn't post it right, or YouTube didn't update it. So whatever. isn't good enough for Wednesdays. Deanna says, my 4-year-old is flat jamming. 4-year-olds are so much fun. Not one can be Canaris reference. Oh, man. Is there a morning sickness tune? Yeah, probably. I should have my wife write one. I'll sing it. That would be pretty funny. Brian says, I have a marijuana plant that is producing a pineapple. Is it supposed to do that? Every plant is secretly marijuana. I learned that online. Have a great night. I am going to see if this time I can say, may your thumbs always be green and not have it cut off at the end. Thank you for watching. God bless, and may your thumbs always be green.